That's right, it's time to get a look at what's hot online. Here's a look at what people are talking about on Twitter. At number 3 is pillow fight. That's because yesterday was International Pillow Fight Day. This is a video of people celebrating the day with pillows in hand, swinging pillows at each other to the beat of uplifting music. That's because it was all for a good cause. President Barack Obama landed at Hill Air Force Base about 3 hours later than originally planned. This was the scene as the president descended the steps, taking his first step on Utah soil Thursday night since being elected. Senator Orrin Hatch, Governor Gary Herbert, and Salt Lake City Mayor Ralph Becker and other dignitaries were on hand for his arrival, along with some of the men and women working on the base and their families. It was a quick stop, but he'll return today. We talked to White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest yesterday about the president's speech.
What the president wants to do is to travel across the country and go to places like Utah.
Now, there were only 3 cases of measles reported in Utah, and the 3rd child came from the same family as Dr. Hacking's 2 patients. Live in Provo, Kelly Keiter, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Neat for him. Quite an honor. Thanks.
Hi guys, Unified Police tell us 7 teenagers were involved in this shooting. 3 were African American teens, 4 were Hispanic teens. 3 of the Hispanics were wearing all blue, 1 was in white, and police are asking the public for any information that could help in finding the suspects.
Kelly, we can see still a bit of activity there behind you. Truly a terrifying moment for the folks that live in that area. Were there any witnesses who actually saw the shooting?
You know, we did speak to a lot of residents here who said they either heard or saw something, but most of them would not speak with us on camera. Police say there were a lot of witnesses in this incident, though, because the shooting took place right here in the road when it was still daylight out. No sightings yet, guys, but he is staying here at the Sheraton, and like you said, crews spent a lot of time preparing. They actually have a lane of empty UTA buses taking up 500 South and 400 South as part of a blockade around the hotel. All right, so check this out. Once the motorcade finally arrived, crowds cheered as the president passed through. Along with him were local police agencies, multiple Secret Service cars, motorcycles, and ambulances. So there's a lot going on down here, and he will be giving his speech at the base later on today. Reporting live from downtown Salt Lake City, Kelly Keiter, Fox 13 News, Utah.
So we're actually going to go out to Kelly Keiter right now, who's going to be talking a little bit more with us about what President Obama has going on for the rest of the day and a little bit about what has been happening around her area now. Kelly?
Yeah, why did he have to leave Utah so quick?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, guys, why did he? It made everyone so excited that he was here, but we just did watch Air Force One take off from the tarmac here at Hill Air Force Base behind me. It was a very neat experience to see this huge plane take off with the president. As you can see, cleanup crews are still here pumping water out of people's basements, removing valuables from their homes, and ripping up the carpeting. Now, some residents received a few inches of sewer water or storm water in their basements, but some had it much worse, up to a foot of water on the floor. Upon investigation, officials from the Granger Hunter Water District say they believe a construction company working on a new development in the area neglected to block off a new sewage line they created. And after all the snow and rain we've received, they say this was a recipe for disaster.
It impacted 12 homes in the neighborhood with mostly storm water, but some sewage was mixed in with that. And it filled up some basements upwards to maybe 12 inches of water.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Damon.
Morning.
So how's the weather out there?
It's looking pretty nice right now, but, you know, just give it time.
It's going to cool off a little bit, we heard, and it's a little blustery outside.
Yeah,
right?
it will be. It will be. We've got another storm headed our way.
And finishing off tied up, it looks like Wisconsin was going to take the title at one point in the second half when they had a 9-point lead, but the Blue Devils showed why they were fighting for their 5th championship since the 90s when they were able to come back and beat the Badgers. Final score, Duke 68, Wisconsin 63.
Yeah, I had Iowa State winning the whole thing, so that worked out well for me when they lost in their first game.
Yeah, pretty exciting for them.
But a big game for Duke last night, obviously.
Very cool. Way to go, Duke. Well, turning to Google now, here's a look at what people are searching for this morning.
And at number 3, Edward Snowden.
Now, the Water District is still communicating with that construction company to find out exactly what happened and hold whoever is responsible for not following standard protocol with this sewage line. They say they're hoping to get all these homes back in good condition and hopefully finish cleanup in the next few days. Live in West Valley, Kelly Keiter, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Now, in the meantime, Kelly, what about the smell from all that raw sewage in those homes?
You know, a lot of residents we spoke with said they didn't know it was actually sewage water until officials told them. So it doesn't sound like there was much of an odor, but, you know, cleanup crews will be sanitizing and cleaning up everything thoroughly before they go in and remove the drywall and replace carpeting.
All right, Fox 13's Kelly Keiter, thanks so much.
Fox 13's Kelly Keiter is live in Bountiful with an update. Kelly?
Hi, Matt. UDOT finished bridge demolition earlier than expected, so all lanes of traffic reopened around 11 this morning. Motorists said they did their best to find alternate routes around the construction. And he just took off. He's heading back to Washington, D.C. now, where he will be celebrating Passover with First Lady Michelle tonight when he returns home.
No wonder he's hustling out of here so quickly.
He's got a date.
Dinner with his wife.
He has a date.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
If only
Ready to get home.
If only she had come. You know, she's been really involved with veterans issues and things. But, you know, come and talk about solar energy too, and stay and see the national parks. Sorry, I'm just trying to be the Chamber of Commerce myself. You know, you gotta. You come to Utah, you gotta stay for a while.
Yeah, but he is.
I think he probably wanted to, but you know, he has a pretty strict agenda, so he's sticking with it.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Kelly. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks, guys. Police have identified a suspect they say was involved in a murder in Salt Lake City. Investigators say 29-year-old Roberto Munoz is suspected of killing 28-year-old Michael Martinez early this morning. They say Munoz was last seen leaving the area of a house at 1267 West, 900 South around 9 a.m. Sunday. Martinez's body was discovered there around 9:30. Munoz is considered armed and dangerous. Anyone with information is asked to call Salt Lake City Police. Fox 13's Robert Boyd was at the scene as police started their investigation. He met with family members of the victim, dealing with the shock of losing a loved one to violence.
I didn't expect him to die like this. Well, he's too young to die. Like, you know, he's only 26.
Family and friends.
Mountain Land Association is hosting a public meeting at their offices in Orem on April 29th from 4 to 6 p.m. Seeger says they'll be taking public input and will be reviewing the plan every 4 years, then implementing that plan with UDOT by the year 2040. Live in Saratoga Springs, Kelly Keiter, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Now, Kelly, where are the biggest areas of growth in Utah County right now?
Well, Bob, more and more people are moving here and more businesses keep popping up, including large companies like Adobe. So while communities along I-15 like Lehigh and Draper continue to expand, officials say they're seeing sizable growth in communities like Saratoga Springs and Eagle Mountain. So that's where they're keeping their focus right now.
All right, Fox 13's Kelly Keiter in Saratoga Springs. Thanks so much.
The annual pond skimming contest has always been a fan favorite. Officials say it's an event to usher in the spring ski season. In the state of Utah each year, 20,000 people receive brain injuries, 2,000 are hospitalized, and 500 die. Paul Thompson from the DWR is showing me how they microchip Bonneville cutthroat trout on the Weber River today. In June of 2013, the Utah Department of Health was made aware of a possible increase in stillborn babies in Daggett, Duchesne, and Uinta counties. Utah Highway Patrol wants to remind drivers that even if they're a little drunk, there's still a lot arrested. Family, colleagues, and friends spoke about the former governor's generosity and his love for family and service. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints held their annual general conference this weekend. At one of yesterday's sessions, the president of the church made an announcement that made many members from around the world very happy.
Kelly Keiter talked to her today. She's in our studio with the story. Kelly?
Hi, Matt. Police say 33-year-old Landon Terry Deffa admitted he was using heroin at the time of his crash on Saturday, which occurred around 5 in the morning. And resident Lacey Stevens says he took her completely off guard when she discovered him in the back seat of her car.
I screamed a little bit, was in a state of shock. I was like, thought there was a dead man in the back of my trunk.
In a bizarre twist of events, a man driving a Ford truck on 114th South veered off the road and rolled into the backyard of this house in South Jordan early Saturday morning.
My wife thought it was an earthquake. I run to the front, look out the window to see if I see anything because it sounded like it was right on top of us.
Luckily, no one at the home was injured and there was minimal damage to the property, but Jeff Myers said the suspect was acting strangely.
I hear the doorbell ringing over and over and over and pounding on the front door, and I come downstairs and look through the peephole, and there's a white male standing there, and I shout, "Knock it off," and he shouts back, "There's been an accident out here." So I run back in, tell my wife to call 911, and I get dressed, and by the time I come out, he's gone, except there's a shoe left. Not quite the Cinderella story that I wanted to, participate in.
Police say the suspect, 33-year-old Landon Terry Deffa, made his way down the street, attempting to break into other homes until he found an open door at Lacey and Eli Stevens' home. He snuck in, found a set of keys, and went to the garage, where he got into a car and hid in the back seat. Lacey Stevens, who was a realtor, got into her car and began driving to Eagle Mountain for appointments. She showed 2 homes, not knowing the whole time there was a man in the back seat.
I looked behind me over my shoulder and just saw a man's legs. And then I saw his body, and I jumped out of my car and was freaking out.
Stevens got out of the car and promptly called police. She said the man was acting strangely nonchalant.
He got out of my trunk and was drinking out of my water bottle and tried to wear my coat. So yeah, he was a little out of it.
Police say Deffa is being treated for injuries he sustained when he crashed his car. He'll then be booked into the Utah County Jail on multiple charges, including reckless driving, fleeing an accident, and trespassing. Live in the studio, Kelly Keiter, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Kelly, that is indeed a wild story. This guy's admitted to using heroin when he crashed. Is he now going to face DUI charges as well?
Well, Matt, Lieutenant Sam Winkler with the South Jordan Police tells us by the time Deffa was arrested, it was too late to do a drug test. But he said Deffa told police he thought someone was following him. And Winkler said his behavior throughout this ordeal, his paranoia and hallucinations, could be the result of using drugs.
Certainly an odd one. Kelly, thank you.
Debbie said she always wanted to visit Nepal, but never expected a large earthquake to destroy the ancient city of Kathmandu, where she was doing sightseeing Saturday. She recounted her scary ordeal with me today.
It just was shocking to realize, okay, I'm in Nepal and I'm in the middle of a huge earthquake. This is a huge earthquake.
Sandy residents Ken and Debbie Brockbank were visiting Nepal for work and vacation when the earthquake struck on Saturday. They were inside the Pashupatinath temple in Kathmandu when the ground began to shake.
We had just walked around the corner from the main part of the temple and heard what I thought was an explosion. We were walking next to a big, tall, white building, and shaking, rolling. It almost felt like, oh my gosh, I've got low blood sugar, and I'm going to pass out, kind of thing. Then I realized everyone around me was screaming and running, and that's when I kind of realized. And my husband was yelling at me, run, run. And
Debbie said she saw a house with people inside topple to the ground. She, her husband, and others found an empty parking lot when moments later another large aftershock.
One of the light posts was swaying, looked like it was going to fall on us. It was quite long and big, so, more screaming and freaking out.
With the help of a guide, the Brockbanks were able to get transportation to Nepal's airport and get a flight out to India, where they are now waiting to return to the U.S. Members of the group, the Utah-based Apasherpa Foundation, have not been so lucky. Director Jerry Micah says they're still waiting to be rescued from a tiny village near the foot of Mount Everest, unable to get to the airport because the main road has been destroyed.
Appa moved up to his village today to assess the situation, and 75% of his village has been destroyed.
Micah says much of the rescue efforts have been focused in the more populated capital of Kathmandu, while the rural areas are not getting the help they need.
There's not been any rescue efforts or any type of help whatsoever up in these mountain regions.
Debbie Brockbank told me many buildings in the capital are unstable, so people are sleeping outside or in tents. Coming up at 9, we'll hear from more Utahns who have family in the region. Live in the studio, Kelly Keiter, Fox 13 News, Utah. Coming up at 9, we'll hear more from the boy's grandfather and how the community is rallying together to show their support. Live in Lehigh, Kelly Keiter, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Kelly, you and I both have kids. I know this is a parent's worst nightmare. It sounds like a simple accident. It couldn't be avoided. Have police reached the same conclusion that there's just nothing anyone could have done?
Yes, police say this was just a tragedy. They say the boy moved abruptly in front of his mother's vehicle and she had no time to think or react. They said they're not citing the mother and said this is just a tragic accident.
Tragedy indeed.
This put a lot of people outside the hotel. The bomb threat was called into Park City Dispatch around 6 o'clock last night. The suspect said there was a bomb inside the Treasure Mountain Inn and it would be detonated unless certain demands were met. Police immediately evacuated the hotel as well as homes and businesses in the area. A couple streets were also closed off, including Park Avenue and the top portion of Main Street. Police brought in a bomb-sniffing dog from Salt Lake City to go through each room of the hotel. A bomb was never found. Meanwhile, hotel guests were left outside waiting and wondering.
It's kind of scary. kind of scary to think that, all our stuff is there. And
they believe there may be evidence inside that room that could help solve this case. Live in Park City, Kelly Keiter, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, Kelly, thanks a lot. Several mountain lions have been spotted in Cache County, Smithfield, and along the river trail in Logan Canyon. The Division of Wildlife Resources is warning you to be aware of the animals. Fox 13's Kelly Keiter is live in studio with more. Kelly.
Hi, Hope and Bob. The Division of Wildlife Resources says cougars are typically shy and avoid people and urban areas, but officials remind Utah residents that cougars can harm and even kill people or pets.
And it actually was coming up behind me. I turned around to have a view of the city and the ridge, and I could see it was coming up behind me.
Experienced climber and outdoor instructor Michael Heathfield says he's had multiple encounters with mountain lions, and he always tells his climbing students the same thing.
If it makes contact with you, and like it did with me, kind of a semi-stalking behavior, you do not run at all. You turn around and you make yourself very big, and you just don't back down.
While they don't attack people very often, mountain lions have been spotted at lower elevations in Utah lately, in Cache County, Smithfield, and one recently on the river trail in Logan Canyon.
When he found this mule deer that had been preyed on, it had been covered over.
Phil Douglas with the DWR reminds residents to keep their pets out of harm's way because mountain lions commonly prey on cats or dogs.
So keeping your pets indoors, keeping their feeding areas indoors, and keeping pets away from where they can be attacked, because we do see many pets that are taken by mountain lions and other predators such as coyotes.
Douglas says while it's uncommon for mountain lions to attack humans, it can happen, and it's important to be aware.
People need to be vigilant, need to be aware of their surroundings, not only for cougars, but for other wildlife as well.
Hiker and Salt Lake resident Sonia Fitches says after hearing about the mountain lion sightings, she's going to be more aware.
Although you want to love nature, you do want to be safe, and you want to know your boundaries with animals.
The Division of Wildlife Resources has information on their website with more tips on what you can do if you ever encounter a cougar. We'll have a link to that on our website. In the studio, Kelly Keiter, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, so Kelly, let's go through the methods of escaping a cougar if one tries to attack you.
Well, there are a lot. Douglas and Heathfield say the #1 thing is to not run, and they say it's important to make yourself appear larger. So anything you can do to increase your size. They say to back away slowly and to make loud noises. And they say if you are attacked, if you fight back and are aggressive enough and try not to show your fear, the cougar will usually run away.
Wow, make yourself larger. Okay. Good advice. Kelly, thanks.
Hi guys, this suspect was on a carjacking spree this morning. I'm here with Lieutenant Justin Hoyle from the Unified Police Department. He's here to tell us exactly what happened. So this started in Utah County. You finally apprehended him in Magna here?
Correct. This suspect has been on a crime spree all morning long. He had stolen 2 cars in Pleasant Grove, 2 in American Fork.
Okay, so possibly some snow and just some blustery spring weather.
Yeah, blustery spring weather. I know winter deciding to finally make its appearance here in the valley.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, better late than never, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks so much, Allison. A West Valley teen is recovering this morning after he pulled a bike stunt with his friends and crashed. Police say the 17-year-old and his friends were driving around their neighborhood near 6400 West and 4530 South around 11 last night. They say his friends were towing him around on his bike with an SUV going northbound on 6400 West when he fell off the bike and tumbled down the road. Officers say he wasn't wearing a helmet or any other safety equipment.
Pretty good injuries, facial injuries, head injuries from tumbling down the street. Well, the way fire indicated to us, it's not going to be fatal or anything, but he's pretty scraped up, a lot of road rash.
The teen driver was cited for the accident. Police say it's against the law to tow things like a bike on a vehicle, and it's just not safe. The school bus driver accused of sexually abusing 2 special needs kindergarten students on his bus will be in court today for a final pre-trial. John Carell was in West Jordan Court in December for a motions hearing. His trial was originally scheduled to start in February, but there has been delays on the case. Carell is charged with at least 30 felony counts of child sex abuse after he was seen on video allegedly molesting an elementary school child with special needs. He faces 15 years to life in prison if convicted.
We really truly do want justice to be served. So we want the investigation to be thorough, we want it to be precise, and we want to make sure that we are safeguarding any and all evidence that we possibly can.
Carell has pleaded innocent since he's been charged. His first day of trial is scheduled to start on April 27th. For now, he is free on bond but has to wear an ankle monitor and has been ordered to home confinement. A powerful name is lending his voice to the debate over vaccines and autism. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says an ingredient in vaccines is to blame for the rising numbers of autism cases. One-time gubernatorial candidate Del Shanzi stormed out of the federal courthouse after rejecting the deal.
You know I didn't do it. You know I didn't do it. You know.
Federal prosecutors have charged Shanzi with a misdemeanor charge of harassing wildlife stemming from this 2011 incident that was recorded and posted online. Prosecutors accuse Shanzi of harassing a barn owl with his motorized paraglider, but before the judge on Thursday, he refused to accept those facts. Shanzi then lashed out at reporters as he left court.
Tell the truth, because the liar will be thrust down to hell. Now they refuse me a trial by jury and then order me to plead to something you know I didn't do because you have no evidence. Typical liars.
Now, federal prosecutors refused to give comment, but a trial has been set for April 20th. Live at the federal courthouse, Kelly Keiter, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Kelly?
Hi, Annie and Matt. Police tell us this could be an attempted suicide. Around 9:30 last night, a man doused his garage in accelerant fluid. He then lit paper to start a fire. That's when he set himself on fire. Police were called to a home at 5700 South, 3823 West in Roy Saturday night to a report of a fire. When they arrived, they found a man inside the front room who had set himself on fire.
He got information that there were 2 individuals inside the home. The first officer on scene entered the home and found an adult male engulfed in flames with another resident in the home trying to put those flames out. He retrieved a blanket and was able to smother him and put those flames out.
The man's girlfriend, who was living in the home at the time, was on the scene when the fire broke out. Police are investigating if this was a domestic dispute and said it's unclear why the man set the garage on fire.
Don't have a motive, don't know what he did, if anything. I understand that there's some information out there that this may have been a suicide attempt. From what I understand, we've only talked to one witness that's given us that information. There is an investigation underway, but none of that information has yet been confirmed.
The man was airlifted to the University of Utah Hospital burn unit in critical condition.
From what I understand, he's suffered 2nd and 3rd degree burns over about 80 to 90% of his body.
The fire destroyed the garage and the cars parked inside. Jason Polson from the Roy Fire Department said the accelerant the man used to start the fire made it difficult to put out.
We had 2 cars in the garage, obviously full of fuel, and we had some gasoline issues and it seemed to kind of be tricky to put out.
Polson estimates the fire caused around $70,000 to $80,000 of damage to the home. Now, police are continuing to investigate this incident. They say it's still unclear whether or not charges will be filed. Live from the studio, Kelly Keiter, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Kelly, did any of the neighbors in this area say if they saw anything suspicious at that home last night?
Matt, we did try to speak with neighbors. They refused to talk with us on camera. Some of them said they knew this man well and were surprised to hear he would do something like this. Police said they will continue to investigate until they determine an exact motive.
Kelly, thank you.
3 teens face serious charges after they reportedly staged a demolition derby at an auto body shop. The Weber County Sheriff's Office says 3 males between 14 and 16 broke into B&R Body Shop in West Haven Thursday night. They crashed the cars into each other. Some of the teens broke in again Friday but were caught by an employee. 31 cars and trucks are damaged to the tune of $225,000.
It's kind of hard to believe that kids would be capable of causing that much damage.
The teens face charges from trespassing to criminal mischief and vehicle burglary. Well, it's time for our Photo of the Day segment here on Good Day Utah, where we want to see what you've been up to. Today's picture comes from Instagram user BroughtBackergate2. She snapped a photo of her awesome day on Antelope Island yesterday. You can share your pictures with us as well. Just use the hashtag GDUPics on Instagram or tag Fox13Now in your post. When we come back, we're talking the Jazz and the NCAA championship game. Stay with us.